by Philco. Oh, he's in that spot again where we just can't see him. Then that's a 3D printed gun. I'll just say that now. Oh my god, we really can't see him. What? That's crazy. You little bugger. There he is. He's just sweeping. Here, let's see. Let's go to the main screen. Main screen on. Here he is. He's in the dark. You can sort of see a slight bleed out from the blackout curtains because they are like perfectly exactly 72 inches or whatever it is. It's actually two different 36-inch ones that are hung vertically. So the corners curl a little bit, but they didn't have anything bigger, and they want to buy 3 because that would be crazy. It'd be way too big. And they're very long. I almost thought about turning them sideways, but there's a certain like mechanism that they use to help kind of roll them up. It's super cheap stuff. It's just a giant black, thick piece of, you know, canvas material with a little bit of plastic backing on it. So, but they're also super affordable. So. Got another day of chilling. Obviously, hours all over the place, but that is what it is. I went out, got my blood taken, very small speck there, and I went to go get my prescription picked up. I guess they figured out the problem on their own and got it solved because the insurance denied me, which was bullshit. But of course, I get there right there. Like right in the middle. Like right at the beginning. Sorry, not the middle, but the very beginning of their lunch break. And I'm like, fuck. I'm so stupid. Like I pulled up right at 1:30. And I'm like... So I came home, cleaned up the 3D print for the wallet that I made. The last one broke a piece off, but now it's all set. There's Care. Welcome in. Yeah, so I didn't get to pick up my meds because I pulled up right at the wrong time. And I was like, either wait in the parking lot for 30 minutes or get it tomorrow. And I'll get it tomorrow. I will be out and about tomorrow because there's a DSA social event that I'm pumped for. So either I'll be out and about early in the day for that. If I'm planning on bringing Kara with me, that would be closer to 6, which might be after. I'll have to check the hours on Friday. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Getting outside, touching grass is important. Getting things done, getting chores done, checking things off your to-do list. I think I can hear him. Maybe, I think there might have been an ice cream truck or something outside. But it was weird to hear music flashing with what I was hearing inside my own head. Hassan is live. This is his last day before his big vacation or whatever. Where he's gonna go on a bachelor party thing for his brother's wedding. I don't know if the wedding is also attached to this or if it's just like a 3-day bachelor party because they're rich. I'm not really sure. Congratulations to Hassan's brother. Doesn't really matter to me either way. It'll be interesting to see what Twitch does during those days, just like the community. And it'll also be interesting to see if the world ends, because it's supposed to be like a joke whenever he's off for a day. Huh. I mean, it is hot as hell outside, so it's just, I didn't know how many kids are around here, but I guess deeper down there's apartments and shit. Yeah, because whatever Hassan's gone for a day, giant things happen. People were saying that there's some weird theories that we're gonna start invading Mexico soon, because there's like people positioning things at the border. They've hemmed and hawed about it and said that they're gonna go fight the cartels, but basically there's a socialist in power that's incredibly popular right at our border, so that's not what we usually let ride. So we'll see what they do. And if there's ever going to be a day, it'd be when Hassan's gone for 3 days. I think if we invaded our foreign #1 ally, our border, our #1 bordering ally, or I guess Canada could technically be considered either way, but I think he might pop open a stream. They might let him bring it just in case. but they're definitely don't want him to. It seems like his party crew he's going with. Anyway, I'll be trying out some new things. I might eventually just vibe out and watch him to stream and chill and talk and stuff. But for now, I figured we'd get started on some of our own stuff, just because, whatever. I got some things I've been wanting to watch for a while. We can either start off with some primate economics. Fuck me, weird. Or we can do something else. Let's do something stupid at first. Let's take it slow. This has been on a chat, or not on a chat, on a tab in my shit for a while. Let me bring this over. Let me grab the URL, add our React link. And then title, right? ChatGPT brain rot. I don't think I've watched this before. I'm pretty sure I haven't watched this before, but I could be wrong. Anything related DSA the day after Friday? Saturday? No. The following Friday would be another thing, and then the following Friday will be a thing that wouldn't be much of a social as much as like a working thing. But then this Friday, the following Friday, and then that following Saturday are like some social events. So that'll be a good day to really like build some solidarity and some chills. Yeah, and maybe I should 3D print some kind of stupid ass NFC tag. Learn how to use my NFC tag generator. I have all those stickers. So it's either like a QR code and or a tap thing and or a business card that I like 3D print or something. Some days for painting. Oh, for you to paint? I see. Gotcha. Yeah. All right. Let me pause the music and let's watch this video. ChatGPT brain rot is real and it's getting worse. This is a thing that I've heard people talk about, and also I've seen happen to both myself and a little bit to my friends and stuff. So let's see. I've muted it.
AI. My AI is actually on. I've developed an addiction to AI. My AI is actually on my best friends list.
If you're anything like me, you use ChatGPT for everything. ChatGPT is my counselor, my therapist.
Well, dude, you got a little parakeet right there, and you're gonna just say it's like more important.
My best friend. It knows all my secrets.
Story time on how I almost got kicked out of the University of Michigan my freshman year for using ChatGPT.
Okay, so ChatGPT is down, but we do not panic.
You're literally one AI agent away from making $10K a month.
The most gut-wrenching feeling in the world is when the ChatGPT chat that you've been
This guy, I mean, no offense to this guy, but all offense, he's like an 80s stock bro brought into the modern age. What the hell? He's like a humanification of the I'm an 80s guy from Futurama. I mean, this dude needs to get checked for bonitis pronto.
using for about 6 months starts referencing things that don't exist. It must be what it feels like to notice for the first time that a loved one has dementia or something.
Everyone's talking about how AI is ruining YouTube, but I believe AI is ruining something much worse, our own
Reality.
ability to think. ChatGPT has went down several times this year, and every time it goes down, it truly exposes people who are over-reliant on the AI. People are genuinely losing their minds because they now can't get any of their work done, they can't cheat on their assignments, and apparently they can't even bake a cake.
ChatGPT is down, and I don't know about anyone else, but I have come to the conclusion that I can't use my own brain anymore because
I mean, I think like she's just fucking. You come on, lady. If you're over there setting up cameras and doing TikToks and shit, you know what you're doing. You're just fucking making rage bait.
because, for example, right now I want to bake a cake, and normally I ask ChatGPT, how do you make a carrot cake? I can't simply Google something anymore. Like, I need a step-by-step breakdown from my best friend, who is also a robot. And now, it's like he's passed away. So, that's me for the day. I'll go back to bed.
If we as a society are already this dependent on ChatGPT and can't be bothered to Google something the moment the servers go down, we as a society are baked. And not in the fun way. Cookbooks, Google, I think even the flour bag has a recipe on it, or just call your grandmother. I'm sure she has a recipe and she.
That's the like, Grok, what am I looking at? Grok, what am I looking at? Grok, what is this? Grok, what is this? What is this, Grok? It's like, bro, come on.
We would love to hear from you. And of course, every time ChatGPT goes down, everybody goes to Reddit to let everybody else know what they already know is that the servers are down. The caption says, when ChatGPT tells you Australians don't need a visa to enter Chile, but it's wrong and too late now.
To just YOLO an international trip. You went around the globe on a fucking chatbot's recommendation. It's searching old and new and also just hallucinating things. I can't, yo. That would be probably white privilege manifesting itself as a negative. You've impacted yourself. You're so used to everything being so simple, and no matter how bad something is, people will go, all right, well, okay, fine. Like, is, you know, this place down right now, or is this place closed? You know, can I get into, you know, the community swimming pool with my flip-flops on or not, or whatever? Do I have to bring my own towel? And they'd be like, well, fine. You know, you're not allowed to, you're breaking the rules, but we'll give it to you. So, like, is he thinking that, like, even if it's wrong, he could just get in and be like, come on, guys, I flew all this way. Come on.
People are now relying on ChatGPT for travel information, which, as we know, gets updated. It's not always the same.
Even if it was right in the first place, but also there's also language barriers involved and like geopolitical implications involved. So you definitely want to double check these things.
ChatGPT, of course, can not only have outdated information, it can also hallucinate. This is fascinating to me because this was such a simple Google search, but it's like people don't want to Google anything now. They don't want to search out information themselves. They just want answers given to them automatically, regardless if it's true or not. I was recently thinking about all the know-it-alls in the world, right? I think we all know someone who kind of just says things and you're like, where did you get that from? And I don't know where they get it from. They just pull it out of thin air, but they say it confidently because they themselves believe it and now they're trying to pass it on as truth.
Last night, I went out with friends, and one of my friends brought a friend. We were talking about space, and I said, fun fact, the size of Neptune's storms are so large they could eat Earth. And then little Tagalong speaks up and he goes, oh, that's not true, bro. That's not true. And I'm like, okay. So I take out my phone, I go to NASA's official website, and I show him with proof that it is true. And he goes, no. He takes out his phone, opens ChatGPT, and says, yo, Chat, is this real? You're using an AI model to fact check NASA.
Why use brain when you have ChatGPT? It's truly amazing to me that people are doubting a
But also, did they think it? Did they look it up before? Is that implying the person heard something and goes, "I don't want to believe that's true," because I wish that Neptune is bitch made or something? Like, why is it so unbelievable? I mean, everything about intergalactic bullshit in space is all like, yeah, sure, man. There are black holes the size of our galaxy and some shit, you know? A storm could be so big it's the size of our planet. Yeah, that makes sense completely because it's an ever expanding gigantic universe. I guess maybe that it's within our own solar system, but like, come on. The red spot on Jupiter is like bigger than our planet, I'm pretty sure. Or at least the continent of the United States or whatever. So it's just like, why are you so pressed about it? And it's not like you've asked this to ChatGPT before, because obviously you have no crave for knowledge. So it's not like you're like, wait a minute, I know for a fact based off of a past thing that this is a commonly known misconception or something.
Official sources of truth, such as NASA, and opting for ChatGPT as their source of truth. People are now using AI to cheat during their interviews.
You're leading an army of ants in a battle against grasshoppers. What's your first strategic move?
I think my first strategic move would be to assess the terrain and identify any natural advantages that we can leverage, such
That's like, you're reading. I can see that you're reading. Why are you reading?
such as narrow paths or elevated areas.
So you can see the AI has been listening to the conversation.
Also, what the fuck? Like, what a stupid question, A. And B, I guess you deserve a stupid answer, but what an incredibly literal response to that question.
And it just outputs the answer, and she's kind of reading.
Well, because it's like, you're leading an army. Okay, well, how many men does my army get? How many? You could just stop the question with a bunch of things, but the question is not supposed to be this literal. I can't imagine it's supposed to be this literal.
It all.
Are you applying to be a fucking general? Why the fuck would it matter how you're going to lead an army of ants?
I understand. Okay, I understand the interviewing process, job hunting. I get it. It sucks. I think imposter syndrome is something we have all struggled with at least at some point in our careers. And if you can't,
I mean, not clinically talking about it, but just like I feel like imposter syndrome is like anybody that is honest with themselves, perhaps too honest with themselves and a few other things, but if you don't have imposter syndrome, like, do you really think you're the hottest shit ever? It's just being honest about things. We all need to build a giant bird made of leaves to scare them away. That's what they're really looking for. Dude, when I interviewed with not my original boss, but like one of the replacement bosses that came in later, when I was interviewing for like promotions, they would just talk to me and they would talk about movies or something. I think I said that I like The Goonies. They asked me what my favorite movie was, and I was like, The Goonies. And they were like, oh, I love The Goonies. And they were just talking about movies. Like, one of the best advices I have for people for doing interviews and like being seen as charismatic is just get that boss type person to just talk about themselves. My old boss used to talk about the military, and you could just get him going and talking about things and how, oh, that's crazy. Really? And it is just, you just lead them on, and they just love talking about themselves and their life. And you're just a nodding person. You ask leading, you follow up their statements with your own, like, you know, little anecdotes or tiny little things to get them back onto that same topic again. I'm trying to remember back, because there was one point there was a question about one of those like kind of bullshit weird questions that's like, oh, you know, what's a moment that you did something and that you wish you could have done it better or something like that. They kind of they're just putting you on the spot for these things. Oh, it was a question like, what would you do in this role that's different than your current role? And I was like, ooh, yeah, so that's a good question. And kind of on that one, because there was another job that they were also opening up. And I was like, there's this thing about, like, I wanted to go from like a master control engineer to a shift engineer or whatever, like a technical engineer. But there was a senior master control engineer position that's supposed to be very similar in like qualifications or like pay level or whatever. So I was like, actually, this job I'm applying for, I was curious how much it would differ from this potential role that's coming out, because I do want to make it different, but should I apply for this other thing instead? You know, what's the progress on that? And then he was just talking about the roles and the backside of the business and all these different things, and he just never even got back to the original question. So sometimes you can Uno reverse them into just talking about the things they love to talk about, and then that bullshit question that has no real answer and is just there to like pressure people who have anxiety. You can kind of just, you know, put it back onto them. And then unite everyone into a social state to overthrow the tyranny. Whoa. You know what? That would be how you lead a thing. A Bug's Life is politically deeper than we thought. I've heard people talk about that a little bit. Also heard there were some interesting ways to look at ants as well. The other Bug movie that came out at the same time that I sometimes have a difficulty replacing in my brain.
Answer the questions in an interview.
which is which?
I don't know. I feel like you're setting yourself up for failure. I know employers themselves are using AI, so now potential employees are fighting back using AI themselves. But I think this will just lead employers to coming up with new tactics to see, are you using AI?
I think we've reached a point with AI where we can confidently say this.
I mean, The easy way to do it is you ask the prompt to the person, and you also ask the prompt to your AI that's sitting there. And so you ask it to a generic ChatGPT, and then it feeds you a ChatGPT answer. And if they're saying the same thing that you just generated, you go, okay, well, you're reading verbatim this ChatGPT script that I just generated. So are you using ChatGPT? Because it's kind of obvious you are.
This is not a tool that is revolutionizing learning. This is a nightmare that is destroying learning. Not once have I seen a single student use AI as a resource or in a way that is even remotely ethical. 100% of times when I see students use it, it is so they do not have to think. I'm talking about putting it.
There is something to this, is like, there were times where I was not able to. Oh my goodness, Philco's being so cute. There were times when I was doing stuff with like Cliff Notes or bootlegged Cliff Notes online by not reading the book and not thinking about the topic enough. Thinking that I was built different or whatever. Yeah, he's being a sweetie. I worked very hard to try to convince my teachers that I was actually reading. But I'm pretty sure if they were paying attention at all, they could tell. Just because. I mean, I was generally considered a good student. I was just not a reading person. He is. Is that the thing for sleeping? Sleepy. Yeah, it's not bad. He just laid right on the pizza. Might have to turn the overhead light on. We'll see. But our school system is, and our learning system is, has problems to this degree where it's weak to a system as wide as this. It's weak to, you know, the idea of take home learning and homework first, homework for everything. When learning in the classroom is going over a PowerPoint about the book, and then everyone goes home and has to then write essays and has to do things. The learning is not done hands-on in the class. It's SAT prep over and over and over again. People will find that home resource to take advantage of it. Like the open book tests that we all had were also blatantly open to problems. They tried to mitigate the problems by making the questions as hard as they wanted to, and to get you to read through your book to find them. But now any open book test would be destroyed by the ability to just have a prompt spit it out. So you're not even using the, all it would get you to do is build a basic prompt of the question. At least getting you to read through your book will get you understanding how to read through your book. But now just generating the most basic prompt of copy paste, that's not that helpful. Honestly, even the reading through your book wasn't that helpful. So our system was already failing, but now it's just exposed by technology catching up to how wounded our education system was. So it makes sense that there are people who are like, oh God, this is bad.
An essay prompt into ChatGPT, not even reading the essay prompt, copying and pasting the results into a doc and submitting it without even reading it over.
More and more teachers are coming out and claiming how AI is terrible for students, and I'm always surprised by the amount of backlash that these teachers get. There's a huge difference in giving AI to an adult to be used as a tool and giving AI to a student to be used as a crutch. An adult already has critical thinking skills, whereas a child hasn't developed their critical thinking yet.
Also, don't think that adults aren't also using it as a crutch. Like, come on. Just because you've got through school before doesn't mean you're not using it as a crutch now, depending on what you're doing. If you're using it to generate your bullshit response emails, that's a crutch. It's a bullshit task, but some things in class feel like bullshit. So it tracks the same way. A lazy person will hit this thing the same exact way.
yet. These students need to be writing things for themselves. Writing, reading, spelling, all of those things lead to critical thinking, abstract thinking, which is the basis of just learning how to learn. How can they fact check an LLM if they can't even on their own create their own stories? People also love to compare AI to when calculators were introduced. Have you ever asked a calculator how to boil an egg? Have you ever asked a calculator to write a resume for you? They're not the same thing. AI can do way more things than a calculator, including math, kind of. As the teacher mentioned, students just copy prompts and paste them into ChatGPT. And this is happening so often in universities that professors are now using a Trojan horse to detect AI. The professors will put something like, mention Dua Lipa. If you don't know, she's an artist. But the interesting thing is, students aren't even reading what ChatGPT is giving them. They're not even reading their work, they're just submitting the whole thing. And then somewhere in the essay, it mentions Dua Lipa, which, if you wrote that yourself, or if you even halfway wrote it going back and forth with ChatGPT, you would wonder, why is it talking about Dua Lipa? They're not even reading the.
I didn't understand what they meant at first. I thought you were saying like the prompt is like, all right, here's your big thing. But also include this sentence somewhere in your paper, and then it's included somewhere. But they mean like, talk about how, you know, the Napoleon's rise to power, but replace Napoleon's wife with Dua Lipa as the question. So then when ChatGPT is spitting it back out, they're just like, you would be, huh? But they're not even looking at it. They're just taking it.
The prompt. The caption says, ChatGPT is down. Is it too far to ask Snapchat AI for exam answers?
But this is just like also kind of this could just be a joke, right?
And then it uses Taylor Swift's song where it says something like, I've got nothing in my brain. Yeah, because you're using AI for everything. You haven't learned anything, and thus you can't recall anything, and you're not able to do your exam. And you're panicking now when ChatGPT is down. It's interesting that she wants to use a social media's AI to help her cheat on her exam, when it's social media that destroyed our critical thinking skills, and not just the desire to find the truth, but the ability to do so. People are now relying on ChatGPT for things.
Destroyed our ability to. I don't necessarily. I mean, that's a, you know, am I being a contrarian by being like, nah, but I just immediately think back to TikTok talking about the genocide in Gaza and then them wanting to ban it because it was too powerful of an information tool to get out the truth. So, but then there's like conspiracy theories that talk about ice walls and shit. But like, that's stupid shit. Everyone knows it's stupid. If 15 people lose their minds over it, you know, some fucking demon destroyer, you know, thing talks about how, you know, the Nickelodeon is all about saluting the devil. Like, there's been people who have disconnects with reality all the time. If anything, they make great content. Any serious person, by our normal definitions, has no problem with that. I hope that we're recovering from the Joe Rogan COVID denial bullshit. I hope that it's no longer new and people are seeing through it. This Epstein thing is a great example of it.
Things like hiking.
Hopefully.
And it's leading users who I guess are not familiar with hiking to go on these mountains that still have snow, and they're wearing sneakers. They're not even prepared for the reality of what the hike is going to be like, and it's causing all these search and rescue teams to have to go out and rescue these people. People are relying so heavily on ChatGPT that they don't even understand that without cell reception, they can get no help from ChatGPT or a rescue team.
If you're not using ChatGPT for everything in your life, you're crazy.
This is by far the most powerful ChatGPT prompt I've ever seen. You are now operating in God mode.
I'm giving you guys right now the exact ChatGPT prompt that will help you manifest your dream life.
And this is how you can have a mental reprogramming of your brain. Here's the prompt.
Older people use ChatGPT as a Google replacement. Maybe people in their 20s and 30s use it as like a life advisor something.
There's an interesting paradox happening with AI where people feel they are genuinely leveling up. They're becoming better, faster, smarter. They're evolving with AI. However, the research says otherwise. Earlier this year, the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania released research on how we learn with LLMs. Their research showed that when we search for information ourselves, we're more invested, and thus, as we're searching out information, we synthesize and hold on to more of that information. Whereas with ChatGPT, it just spits out an answer, we read it, we don't really hold on to the information, and we just keep going about our day. We then have the recently released MIT study that shows that people who use LLMs tend to have less brain activity. In the study, participants were asked to write an essay. The researchers used an EEG to measure the electrical activity of the brain as users were writing their essay. They found that the people who only used their brains exhibited the strongest, most distributed networks, and the LLM users displayed the weakest connectivity. The study also highlighted how people who used the LLM had a really hard time recalling.
I feel like that just makes sense because if you're just let me double check. Let me double back to make sure.
To measure the electrical activity of the brain as
Electrical activity of the brain as you're doing it.
Users were writing their essay. They found that the people who only used their brains exhibited the strongest, most distributed networks, and the
If you have to do literally everything, you're stretching across your entire brain.
LLM users displayed the weakest connectivity. The study also highlighted how
Just weakest connectivity. So if it's like, okay, write an essay about Napoleon, like, well, I guess I gotta like research where he's from or whatever and the dates and write it out. Where it's like, hey, chat GPT, give me the thing, right? And then it's like, okay, well, here's your default information. And you go, okay, cool. I'll kind of just take this as a starting point and then yoink and twist it or whatever, assuming that's what they're supposed to be doing with it. So the small taffy pulling that you're doing is not going to be nearly as brain usy.
people who used the LLM had a really hard time recalling what they'd even read or wrote with the LLM. And I know a lot of people have issues with this.
It's like writing down your own notes versus just getting the PowerPoint emailed to you after class. You're going to have a much more detailed, it's going to be more of a pain in the ass, but you're going to have a much harder, like reading a book or getting an audiobook. An audiobook, you're going to have less percentage absorption. It's great because you can be doing the dishes and doing other things because you got a busy day. If we could all just lay around and read books all day and not have to worry about anything, there's no FOMO about anything going on in your life, then sick. But unfortunately, there's trade-offs you got to make sometimes. But when it's really important information, you generally have to read it yourself.
MIT research claiming that it's too small of a sample size. But we also have Microsoft's own research pointing to basically the same thing, that the more we use LLM.
Ooh, this is a thing that I think should be like all research should be open source. If places like Google or OpenAI or any of these fucking places are doing studies about their work, it has to be open. I don't want to allow oh, you mean just reading? Yeah. Like if you, because like oil companies did studies and they go, oh shit, we're causing global warming. Better keep that as proprietary information for ourselves and hide it. And that's like, I don't want that shit ever happening ever again. So if they're out there going, oh look, we're weakening brains, we're smoothing them, we're fucking them over, that information should be open source to peer review, to both, help insulate the companies, to make sure that they know that they're not doing something bad, or you keep them from bad results or whatever being something that could hurt them, because peer review will just be even-handed. It's open source peer review. That's the whole point of all this. I was trying to see if I could open up my Steam to turn those overlay things off. Settings, friends and chat. That's chat. Notifications. When a friend joins a game. When a toast is displayed. What the hell is a toast? Discussion has a reply. A major sale. Steam turn notification. What the hell is that? Okay, I think I've set it up. When a friend joins a game. Notification toast, play a sound, or I think as a toast must be that little box. So chat messages are fine. Chat room or something is fine. But not when they just join games. Because that's also just doxing a random, friend's account or whatever.
LLMs, our brains are having atrophy and we're losing our critical thinking. This is all interesting to me because the AI hype usually focuses on how we're all going to unlock all of this knowledge that the average person can learn physics. Yet if they're using an LLM to learn physics, then they're actually learning it at a shallower depth than if they would research it on their own. AI is also marketed to us as allowing us to automate the boring things, when in reality, we're just fact-checking what the LLM tells us. We're not even using our creativity, and we're not using our critical thinking skills. That's why we're becoming dumber or in my opinion, we really didn't need these studies to show that if you outsource every single thought you have to ChatGPT, that will deteriorate our own ability to think critically and problem solve.
If I can show you how to make money with ChatGPT in the next hour, would you do it?
So I've been training this brand new AI on exactly how to help beginners make money online.
If I had to start from zero and make 10K per month as fast as possible with AI, here are 3 ideas that I know for sure would work.
I want to stop scrolling because this AI hack could change your entire 2025 income game.
I'm too cheap to pay for my own Netflix subscription, so let's build our own version of Netflix, and all we're going to need is to go onto ChatGPT. I just sit back, relax, and save that Netflix subscription money. What's your vibe today? Smart feed, mystery?
So many people these days are told they need to start a business or a side hustle, and with AI, anyone can code up their own application, even though these people are now putting users' passwords in an Excel file because they don't know how to set up a database or do proper authentication. But I digress. I'm thinking about starting a side hustle where I collect dog poop by hand from people's yards and drying them out to put in resin to make jewelry and watches out of. Thinking of calling it Turd Times a Charm. What do you think? This idea is brilliantly unhinged, and honestly, it might just work. People may be spending money that they don't have to start a side hustle all because ChatGPT told them it was a brilliant idea. It's like we're so focused on being efficient now that no one cares about honing their skills, about improving their craft. Take the event loop in JavaScript. It's a coding language if you don't know. The event loop, you don't necessarily need to know to write JavaScript code, but it's something that I want to know. It fascinates me and it allows me to write optimized code. But do I truly need to know it to be able to write code? No, the AI knows it. It can write optimal code. But it's like nowadays, I'm viewed as the idiot if I don't want to use AI. Like if I don't want to outsource my brain to the AI, I'm the idiot. Over-reliance on ChatGPT is the real zombie apocalypse. It's the death of critical thinking. I think this tweet sums up this video quite well.
Ooh, that's an interesting way to look at things. Because it wants your brains. It wants your seed information. It craves it, and it spreads. You don't realize your friend's been bitten until it's too late, and they turn. That's a cool little it's a cool idea to extrapolate out into a mini little thing.
Sometimes in the process of writing a good enough prompt for ChatGPT, I end up solving my own problem without even needing to submit it. AI folks have now discovered thinking.
You just are putting your closets on ChatGPT? What happened to the art of getting dressed? What happened to... Fuck, I can't find anything to wear. What are my last beautiful purse?